Well, Sarah, in April of 2024, the Ravens drafted a wide receiver in the 4th round out of the University of North Carolina by the name of Devontez Walker. The first half of his final year in Chapel Hill was derailed due to essentially a eligibility suspension, and then he lights it up down the stretch that second half season. The Ravens see him, right? He saw a lot of Nate Wiggins that year, which we've talked about recently. But now he's starting to see maybe his game come together in year 2. We saw a very small sample size of him during his rookie season, most of which was special teams. The toe drag against the Giants obviously sticks out as the highlight play. But this is a player that is super speedy, has the ability to take the top off of a defense, has some height, and apparently now is catching the eye of one Lamar Jackson throughout the start of camp here. So what do you make of this?
Well, this is crazy to me because there are already so many weapons on this team from the tight ends we've talked about. Obviously, there's going to be some snaps available with Isaiah likely going down. Maybe Devontez Walker will somehow get some of those, but not just because Mark went down. Obviously, they're 2 different positions, but it's because he is forcing everybody from Lamar Jackson to the coaches to rethink things. Bobby, with these tight ends, with Derrick Henry in the backfield, with your top 3 wide receivers being Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, and D-Hop, I want to know how. How is Devontez Walker catching the eye of everybody when you have all of those weapons in front of you? Jeff Zrebiec from The Athletic has officially called Devontez Walker, quote, the most improved player since last season. Bobby, I thought that was going to be Nate Wiggins. But there he is catching the ball over Nate Wiggins. How is this happening? Jeff Zrebiec went on later to say, despite all these people in front of him, from Zay to Bateman to Hopkins, he says Walker could push for more time. And it's because of this, Bobby. It's because of highlight reels like this. First of all, let me just note, this is Devontez Walker catching while falling to the ground, a pass, but who's throwing it to him? That is Lamar Jackson. How in the heck is Devontez Walker even getting in with the first team with all these other weapons? Now, maybe because Bateman was ill on Monday, but he returned Tuesday, and these are Tuesday highlights. Maybe they're easing Bateman back in. But he is in there with the first team, Lamar Jackson, throwing this pass, and he snatches it out of the air, reels it in. And then how about this from Cooper Rush in the back of the end zone with Wiggins in coverage in the corner, 2 feet down, ball secured, touchdown. Touchdown. And this wasn't a, speed, 9 route where they just say, go get it. We'll throw it up and you go get it, which is what his signature is with speedy stuff. Now, this is a fade jump ball in the back of the end zone. Tez Walker having these highlights to the point where these beat writers are saying, hey, he's the most improved. And here's Cordell Woodland saying something similar.
Walker, another busy day for him. He just looks like a pro receiver right now. He's playing with...
I'm sorry, what was that? He looks like a pro receiver when he got little to no chances last year? Say that again, Woodland.
Tez Walker, another busy day for him. He just looks like a pro receiver right now. He's playing with confidence, and it's showing. He's getting involved. He's getting in some of the first team reps as well with Lamar, not on a regular basis, but situationally, he's gotten involved with those guys, and Lamar's looking for him. You can tell Lamar has some trust in Tez Walker, so that's good to see the young boy continuing to stack good practices.
He's just stacking, and that's the key word. That's the key word, is stack. It hasn't been, he had one good reception here or one good reception there. It seems like every single day, Tez Walker is catching the eye of plenty of people, including based off of his actions, Bobby. And what Cordell said there is that Lamar's looking for him. It's not like it's like, ooh, I've got nowhere else to go, I'll dump it off at Tez. No, Lamar is looking for him. So Lamar's actions are saying, I trust in this guy. I trust who he can become.
Heck, Steve Smith's actions from a couple years ago, Dreams just reminded us about, right? During one of his, and we mentioned this, I think, recently when we were talking about Tez, that in his post-draft analysis, he's like, look, it might take some time, but this dude's going to take somebody's job. I don't know if that's this summer. I kind of get the sense that 2026, 2027 Devontez could be really a high impact player for this team. But hey, you continue to knock on the door, and your best ability when you're trying to get into the rotation is availability. And God forbid, knock on wood, they were in this situation in January. God forbid they are again at the wide receiver position. Devontez is going to be ready based on what he's showing so far. And by the way, you mentioned Wiggins because he has been on the wrong end of some of these plays. Now, at the same time, Diop was called for offensive pass interference
a
day or two ago.
And Wiggins celebrated in the face of Lamar Jackson playfully. So.
Yes, which is great. But doesn't that bring you down the road of iron sharpens iron? Like, I feel like the best served player of all of this is going to be Nate, because he's already coming off a great rookie season. And now he's going up against a future Hall of Famer in D-Hop, apparently a dude on the rise in Tez, a guy that's coming off a breakout season in Bateman, a Pro Bowler in Zay, and we haven't even gotten to tight ends yet. So Wiggins might actually be the most best served in all of this, and it's going to pay dividends for him coming up in year two. But there's a lot to like. I don't know where he falls into this whole picture in terms of what we can expect from a sample size in year two.
He's still a wide receiver 4 or 5. Like, that's the problem, unless he forces people to change their mind. You know what I mean? Yeah.
And if you go back to last summer and you start to kind of remind yourself, refresh yourself, there was some buzz early on. He faded off towards the end of training camp, and then really faded off to once the season began. The first half, you saw a lot of inactives on game days. Then he started earning his role through special teams. Then he got the opportunity to play in the Giants game and other little small spots and ways that John was trying to get him involved and Todd was trying to get him involved in the offense. But it's just a good positive sign of development. I think that's the reason why there's some excitement coming across the channel today.
Absolutely. And you think back to like who Devontez is, and I'll just put this disclaimer out. I cannot tell you, this is 2025. I first started covering the Ravens in 2005, so 20 years. I cannot tell you how many camp wide receivers were creating buzz. It's just time and time and time again. And then you get to the regular season, it's like, what happened to that one wide receiver everybody was talking about? Where I feel like this could potentially be different is the consistency we're talking about. The fact that he was with the first team, because a lot of times guys will stand out, but they were playing against other third string people. Like, this is Devontez making plays with the first team. This is against their new number one cornerback in Nate Wiggins. And so there's all of that. And I think the other thing that could make a difference, but it's to your point that it might be still a little bit, I feel like he could force the coaches to put him in special situations during the game. But when we're talking about consistent looks during the regular season, I'm with you. It might still need to be once D-Hop, is no longer here, which I'm not trying to push him out the door. Right. It might be like you said in 2026 where we see a consistent Devontez Walker presence, but I definitely see special packages that he forces the coaches to put him in.
I'm old enough to remember the 2022 summer when they brought in undrafted wide receiver Shamar Bridges, and he lit it up throughout training camp. He lit it up through the preseason. He was sort of a big body player, which at the time this entire fan base was craving, right? A lot of people felt like that was the missing piece, so on and so forth. And he didn't even make the 53-man roster. So you just, it requires, I think there's this starvation that takes place there throughout the latter half of those final few weeks leading up to training camp. You get football back for the first time in 6 months. And it's like, wow, look at this player who's popping. And you just got to kind of temper expectations a little bit, try and look at it as even keel as possible. But hey, let's hope for Tez's sake and also for the Ravens' sake that he continues to knock on the door, because that's a darn good problem to have. He spoke with WJZ after practice this week, and he had this to say about the experience so far to date.
A little bit more, because you're one of the guys that's really popped so far early on in camp. Just And what's your motivation? What are some of the goals that you set for yourself this year? Because you look like you're coming in with intensity and purpose.
Really same goal as last year, that role and being out there on the field, like, you know, getting those reps and stuff like that, and getting the most of those reps. You know, I feel like a guy that can help this offense. I bring, you know, a lot of speed to this offense, and like I said, I could be another valuable asset for Lamar. So my goal is still the same. You know, hopefully a little more production this year. So, but the main thing is, you know, finding that role in this offense.
And I guess it doesn't hurt when you're going up against two of the best in Jair and Nate Wiggins every day.
Yeah, for sure. Between all our DBs, honestly, Marlo, all of them, even the rookies, you know, they give us, you know, a little hard time out there sometimes. But it's been real good.
Sarah,
He
you mentioned
said,
the speed.
go ahead, Bobby. Go ahead.
Sorry, I didn't mean this. I wanted to sneak it in there quickly because he mentioned the speed, and I just wanted to remind everybody this is a 4.36 speed player from his combine a couple years ago. So what were you going to say?
I was just going to say the line where he said, I feel like I can be an asset to Lamar Jackson as long as and like we said, Lamar's actions, what Cordell said is that he's looking for him. If he convinces Lamar, everybody else is going to be convinced. And so that's the right mindset to have. And I'll also say this about Devontez. He is battle tested when it comes to adversity within his family. Remember all the transfers he had to have, the NCAA drama that was going on, and him trying to, you know, him transferring to help take care of his ill grandma, all that kind of stuff. This guy is as grounded as you can be. And so if he's going to buck the trend of wide receivers who are making noise in training camp and then die, he's got the correct mindset and talent to do so.
6'1.5", buck 93, 4.36 kind of speed. Started his collegiate career, to your point, at North Carolina Central, transferred to Kent State, then transferred to UNC with Mac Brown, where again, he dealt with that eligibility issue, balled out during the second half, caught the Ravens' eye. Perhaps he's going to catch their eye again in a different way this upcoming summer. So Devontez Walker, ladies and gentlemen, you know, a player was going to, at some point throughout this summer process, make a case for himself, and perhaps he's doing exactly that.